So no doubt Ted Cruz is trying to shore up support campaigning Wednesday in Wichita Falls with Donald Trump Jr. You know, Mike Pence is coming to Dallas tomorrow campaigning with Pete Sessions. Republicans clearly concerned about an energized Democratic Party in this state, but not all Texas officials, especially GOP ones, are benefiting from those high-profile endorsements. Ayan Mittra is in for Ross Ramsey this morning at the Texas Tribune. Good morning to you, Ayan.
Good morning.
You know, one Texas Republican who's made a lot of headlines over the last 4 years hasn't been getting a lot of endorsements. It's Ag Commissioner Sid Miller. Why not?
Well, you know, there's a lot of trade associations that have been making endorsements up and down the Republican list, and several of them have not endorsed Sid Miller. You know, a lot of them are saying they want to remain neutral, or they don't have a dog in the hunt in the Ag Commissioner's race. But then, you know, with Sid Miller's history, he's been the subject of a couple of investigations, and you know, his Facebook page has been kind of called out for posting fake news. It's just raising some questions. You know, from Sid Miller's point of view, he doesn't want to be part of the, you know, Texas, you know, the Austin lobby industry. That's how his spokesman referred to it. So he's relying on his ag group endorsements and going from there.
And he has been quiet on Twitter lately as well, too. Let me shift off to another story that you guys are watching in Austin. State Senator Charles Schwertner accused of sexually harassing a UT student. This is heating up. Schwertner took a lie detector test. UT now hiring a former federal prosecutor to investigate. How's this going to end up?
Yeah, so to be clear, he's accused of, the inquiry is around some text messages that have been sent to a UT student, some lewd messages. Senator Schwertner has denied this. He says they were not sent from him. There's an investigation going on at UT. They've recently hired apparently a former federal prosecutor to look into it. For his part in this, Schwertner has denied this. He's taken a polygraph test, and it said that everything he answered was factual. He's actually calling for the dismissal of the officials at UT who leaked this. There's no state Senate investigation. This is primarily a UT investigation as of now, and UT's not commenting about it because they don't want to. They say they want to protect the integrity of the investigation. So it's a lot more still to come on this.
Yeah, interesting. Thanks for the clarification too, Ayan. Back to you in just a moment, sir.